Okay, 1 second.
I see the live on YouTube now.
I see Scarlett and Phil and thank you everybody for joining.
Yeah,
Okay, we are officially live. Thank you everyone for your patience.
thank you. All right. Welcome everyone to the July 19th, 2021 Lincoln County Planning Commission meeting. This time we're going to call the roll. Is that John or Megan tonight?
I will do that. Commissioner Bobbitt.
Here.
I'm sorry, Chair Bobbitt.
Here.
Commissioner
Here.
Pelletier. Thank you. Commissioner Pelletier.
Here.
Commissioner Kier.
Here.
Commissioner Lambert.
Here.
Commissioner Skolnick.
Here.
Commissioner Cutler. Appears absent. Commissioner Stratton also appears absent. And then Commissioner Bugenhagen.
Good evening. I am here.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, we do have a quorum. Tonight we're holding a live virtual electronic public proceeding on 3 case files, 01 LUPC 21, 02 LUPC 21, and 03 LUPC 21. The applicants are Sea Ridge Condominiums, Club World Market Glen Eden Beach, Edward and Joan Tanabe, Richard and Sally Grant, Terry and Janice DeSilvia, and Sherry Kane, respectively. Each of the applicants request an amendment to the Lincoln County Comprehensive Plan to adopt a goal exception to Goal 18 Implementation Requirement 5. The effect of the goal exception would be to allow the placement of beachfront protective structures at the subject properties. It should be noticed that we've conducted the original hearing on June 14th, reconvened on June 29th, and on that date, we acted to go ahead and grant these goal exceptions. Tonight, we were scheduled to review the findings prepared by the staff once again. However, we've been advised that those findings are still in process and are not quite ready. So at this time, I think we will have a mini staff report on what is the next procedure.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. Okay, yeah, Anno, for the record, Anno Husing, Director of the Planning Program. Yeah, we were hoping that this week we would have the findings ready, and I just spend a moment explaining that one of the reasons this is so difficult is that when the applicant's attorneys first provided a set of findings, we felt from a substantive perspective, and there were some legitimate differences of opinion about how to go forward versus the staff and the suggestions from the attorneys. So we really, from a staff perspective, we more or less took over the process, which is routine. I mean, they're supposed to submit stuff to us, and then as a staff, we're supposed to ready it for submission to you, following the instructions that came from you as a board. And so I think that the first part of our effort was really focused on making sure that the substance, there was a lot of paring down and reorganizing, but largely based on the substance of the findings. But John O'Leary deserves a lot of credit for volunteering once kind of the substance issues were worked out. Then we were presented with a dilemma because the applicants had sort of merged in their narratives and in their findings all of the applications. So as we were the task of separating them out, because you all know we have 3 separate applications that require, so there are 3 different goal exceptions. They share a lot of common fact patterns, but they're different applications. So what ended up taking more time than we thought anticipated was the task then of not just dealing with the substance, but then providing surgery for each of these applications to make sure factually we didn't have material from one of the applications bleed into the findings of another. So ultimately, the painstaking effort of, again, providing that last surgery to make sure that we've got 3 standalone applications that are accurate. That's what's ended up taking quite a bit of time. John, don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have anything, since you're the one wrestling with that task of performing surgery, do you have anything to add that might clarify the nature of the challenge?
No, Anna summed it up. It's complicated. There's references to various exhibits, additional reports that the applicant submitted. So you have to check the references to the exhibits to make sure they match up with the associated findings with each of the case files. So it makes it a little tricky to separate them. So it's a little bit like taking after conjoined twins, trying to get these things apart. So we're going to work through it as fast as we can. It would be a lot easier if we just scheduled this out for 2 weeks. I think Anna's going to make that recommendation here in a minute. And
It's fine that you just did it too. That would be our staff recommendation, to really make sure we're not doing this again, where a week from tonight, we're asking you to come on board and then we still apologize if the findings aren't there. We'd rather go ahead and do the 2 weeks. Earlier today, we went through an exercise where we began, because we're mindful that at least for some of the parties, if they're going to be deploying riprap, they want to do it before the storms, before the weather turns. So ultimately the findings have to be correct, because nobody gets to do, if the findings aren't correct and they get, that's a mess. But I think if they're listening tonight, the folks that are, of course, anxious about actually being able to protect their homes, the way the calendar works is going to be like this. So if 2 weeks from tonight, we're really safely believing that you're going to have those findings, and that you could, and presumably you're going to be taking action on them that night. So then basically we would be a month out from there, because we would immediately get into the notice for the Board of Commissioners meeting. So that would take about a month. So I mean, if everything goes according to schedule, and we stay on that track, the fall will still be there potentially for at least the property owners that are most vulnerable to next winter's storms. They should be in a position to elect to go forward or not. So ultimately, the timing should not affect, I don't believe, the how we handle these findings. The findings got to be good, but it's just, we could not help going through that process as well to think about some of the folks that have applied for these goal exceptions. And so I think if we stay on track from here on out, if anyone's wondering about that, and I'm sure some people are, that looks like it could still happen. Jerry, do you have anything to add procedurally or substantively in terms of what we're sharing with our colleagues tonight?
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And I think we all wanted this to be ready. And I think it started with, you have, I think, some proposed findings that were over 40 pages, if I remember right. And they needed to be reviewed, highly complicated. And so it is important to get it right. But also, I think it's important that we not reconvene when the findings aren't ready. So if staff feels they need 2 weeks, I would recommend that this planning commission make a motion to continue this matter for 2 weeks, and that be on the record.
Great, thank you, Jerry. Right, and also I just wanted to add, in my opening statement, I neglected to note that we had already, we also met July 12th to try to move this process along. And this is highly, if anyone else is listening, it is highly unusual how we have scheduled in meetings like this to try to, we're working off of not our usual scheduled meetings to try to move this forward. So, but we do have to make sure that everything's correct. So thanks to staff, and thanks for all the planning commissioners for reconvening so often on this matter. Does anyone have any comments, or at this time, is someone willing to make a motion to continue this hearing to, I believe that would be August 2nd at 7 p.m. Terry, do you,
Yeah, I can make a motion that we continue this proceedings with respect to goal 18 for 2 weeks. Next meeting would be, I had it up, can't find it now,
August 2nd?
August 2nd.
Okay, there's a motion to continue these 3 case files to August 2nd. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Judy. All those in favor, wave your hand or say aye.
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 Great, that's unanimous. This time, is there any other items for discussion? Scarlett?
I have a question. So
Sure.
on August 2nd, we're going to be, when are we going to get the information? Are we just going to get it August 2nd and we agree to it?
No.
When do
I-
we get it?
Well, maybe, I think planning department can answer that, but you need to have it so that you have at least the weekend and the Monday to look at it, and hopefully more time than that. But maybe staff can answer that. But there's no way that it's appropriate for us to get you the findings that evening and expect for you to have read them and understood them and to be able to comment on them. So it needs to be to you in advance.
That's why I'm asking. So when can we expect to receive it?
So I would anticipate within at the very least 5 days before the meeting. So it's going to be that Thursday or maybe that Wednesday before that. But honestly, I would like to get this done this week and get them out a whole week ahead of time. But so.
So if I got it on a Thursday, I've got Friday to discuss it and Monday to discuss it with the staff. Is that correct?
That'd be correct. Yeah. If you have any questions, that Friday or that Monday. But ideally we'll get them out to you sooner than that. I mean, we're working on them. I'm working on them tomorrow and the next day. I got to get some reviews done because there's some components to it. We need to group think this and make sure we're accurate when we put these together. But collectively, I mean, we whittled them down from 40 something pages. Right now they're just about 35 pages, but there's 3 sets of findings for 3 different land use actions. So collectively you're looking at over 100 pages. So frankly, it would just be rude to get this to you with anything less than 5 or 6 days, lead time. So we're going to try and get it to you at least that soon, but I'd like to target a week. So I'd like to think maybe we can get these to you out maybe by Friday or Monday. So does that help?
Yeah, so Scarlett, I like the question. It's one of the reasons we really wanted to make sure it was a 2-week thing, so that there was adequate time to get them to you. So they're not just a last minute, even though they might be, from our perspective, ready to go, we're not dumping them in your lap at the last minute. There would be time to engage staff. And I think one of the reasons John's optimistic about getting them to all of you in a reasonable amount of time is that we've got a lot of momentum now. And when you're involved with something this complex, you just want to keep roaring through it, because to disengage and then re-engage it is not an efficient use of John's time in this case. So we owe him some thanks and that he's knuckling down and doing this with everything we got doing. And we've also got, Jerry's participating, and we've got and Matt Spangler, is helping us from Montana. Still engaged, so it's a team effort. But thank you, John, for agreeing to take on that really gnarly task of doing the surgery. So
just FYI, this is the only thing I will be doing until I'm done. So I'm literally not doing anything else. So as fast as I can get this done, it will be done. So yeah.
Great. Okay, any other questions or concern for the Planning Commission? All right, well then, this meeting is done and we will reconvene on August 2nd. Good night, everyone.
thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.